Hello everyone, good morning, nubkeks here, welcome back to Nub Raids. We're fresh out of the shower here today, and we've got some exciting summoning events coming over the next few days, starting from, well, tomorrow. Wixwell's Path is here with that Vault Keeper Wixwell Soul. So this is pretty spicy. Don't know yet exactly what level soul it's going to be, but let's assume it is a 5-star perfect soul for Vault Keeper Wixwell in there. That is the way that they've been doing it. Very, very powerful for this champion. I've seen, for instance, a lot of people running Wixwell in a clan boss, a regular Demon Lord clan boss team, where with his shield growth, he can, and his increased defense, his shield, his decreased attack, he can keep your team alive for absolutely ages, and he is fantastic for that. For Hydra, obviously, we've got the whole Yannicka team comp, where you just keep going for ages, grow a massive shield, using Wixwell's A3 to mischief tank, but then to swap it over and have the shield stolen from somebody else. And yeah, then Yannicka blows up that shield for crazy damage. There's a whole bunch of variations of that composition. Wixwell is super juicy right now. And who knows, will they do anything to change this A2 to make it more generally useful and not as strong in those niches? I don't know. There'd be quite an uproar, so maybe it's here to stay, maybe not. Who the heck knows, right? Who the heck knows at this point? Either way, I think the Wixwell Soul is really, really valuable. Like, for me, I'd definitely be looking for this, well, 5-star cruelty, much like with Aestrid. Such a big deal for Hydra in particular. The extra resistance and accuracy makes it much easier to build him as your mischief tank. The extra stats are nice. And then, giving you that defense decrease, 2% per hit. And remember, his Wixwell, he is permanent counter attack, and he's got a double hit A1. So he's actually going to be very, very consistent at stacking that cruelty up. You also got the option of bringing him in with Brimstone, 60% chance for protected smite debuff. Again, he'll be very consistent at applying that for something like Demon Lord Clan Boss. They're probably the main things that you'd be looking at for him, honestly, is be one of those two. But he's a really, really good champion to run that stuff on. He is great. I'll probably do actually a full guide on Wixwell, maybe in the next couple of days. It's just a bit tricky. It's kind of tough to know, should I do a guide on him or not, because they might change those teams. Like, genuinely, at this point, they might. We'll see. Let's sort of assume they won't, though. Now, here we go. What are the summon events happening at the same time? Well, it's going to be 2x for legendary champions from Sacred Shards. I don't think we have in the news, do we? No, I don't think we've got the news on his path, but let's proceed. I mean, it's pretty clear it's going to be summoning shards. And usually it's more of just the soul summon rush event, right? Just the quality of the shard, so you get points just for summoning like a sacred shard or a void shard. Definitely this would be pushing you towards sacreds anyway. With the 2x for sacreds, it's definitely leaning high into sacreds. And that again starts a day earlier than it usually does on Thursday, the 23rd of May. And then there are going to be 10x events as well for, well, you can see the different faction unity champions. All of them so far, they're coming in from Ancients, Primals, and Sacreds. So if it is a pure Summon Rush event, it's likely your Ancients are going to suck. For your Primals, yes, you're getting a bonus chance for the faction unity, guys. That's nice, but I highly recommend saving Primals for 2x Mythical at least, preferably 2x everything. Sacreds would be the way to go. Void Shards, probably if you want to buy your way through this with money, right, real money, Void Shards typically give you a very good return in Summon Rush. Like, they're great for Summon Rush points, but there's not going to be any summoning events going in for Void Shards. You would just be pulling them to help you to complete the Wixwell's path. I'll do a full breakdown of this path tomorrow, and we'll confirm all of that, and we'll look at the best way to do it and the routes to take and so on. It's possible that souls could come into this as well, which would either be good or bad, depending on how many souls you've saved up. Champion training would be another big one. Artifact enhancement can come in. Dungeon divers sometimes is a small part, but like the big points are going to be summoning, and then maybe something small alongside. But pulling shards is realistically going to be the big one. Of these, so which day should you target? Let's say you're pulling your sacreds. Well, there's going to be 10x's on every day for the faction unity. Which ones should you go for? Hmm. Well, I think number one, Aislinn is probably, I think, the worst one of the faction unity champions. I tested him out. I wasn't in love with him. I like his idea. He's really good at protecting your team, like really, really good at protecting your team. And that's great. Keeping your team alive. I did find his A2. It was hard to make this do good damage. And yeah, I just feel like he's you know, he's a good Bannerlord faction unity champion, right? Super tanky Bannerlord. I like that. I didn't find him to be too crazy useful, to be honest, though, was sort of my vibes on it. Number two, these are just sort of my impressions. I've not done a huge amount of testing with these champions. I wasn't too crazy either about Dune Lord Gregor. Um, I found him good. So, like, obviously he combos very well with Arman's, but I mean, Arman's kind of just wins almost every fight on his own. I just don't feel like you need to get a faction unity champion to make Arman's better. With Alaz, he's giving you increased attack. He's not a perfect combo with Alaz. I thought that Gregor also, he wasn't too exciting to me, personally, honestly. But look, any of these faction unities would be fun to get. We got to pick, though, which day to go for. So for me, the two more exciting ones are definitely Fina and Falmond. They are the two more interesting in my mind. Falmond, I think, is a whole lot of fun because he's got this passive thing where every turn taken by an ally or an enemy reduces the damage he takes, which can make him like take no damage, I believe, if enough people take turns, which is kind of hilarious. So you can build him super slow and he'll just become invulnerable. And then, of course, as well, this skill does the same. Yeah, here at 2 faction allies, the damage on his A3 ability, right? This will also scale up its damage for each turn taken by an ally or enemy, right? So you can have him super slow. He becomes super tanky. He's charging up the power of this move, and then he comes in and he claps. To get the full effect, you need the 3 faction allies, where it does the Sun Wukong style split damage, where the surplus damage does a huge AoE. So that's the same as like Sun Wukong. It's actually the same as in this faction Siegfried. He does the same sort of thing, the surplus damage, which is absolutely massive. So he's actually quite a fun one. If you got good Sacred Order champions, he's quite a fun little nuker, I think. He could be quite cool, and you could build like a Sacred Order team for like Classic Arena or Tag Arena. Difficult to use it in Live Arena. I think he just gets banned or whatever. But he could be a fun option, right? Venus is good. Cardial. Wixwell you've got right there. Like, so you've got a good budget option. Obviously, if you're going for this Wixwell path, you've got Wixwell. So you got Wixwell to put with Falmond. Siegfried would be really good to put with him as well. Like Siegfried plus Falmond would be absolutely terrifying, I would think. So yeah, he's quite a fun one. I think my favorite, though, of them all is actually Fina. I think Fina's really, really cool. This champion is very fun. I probably like her most because she's the really Hydra-focused champion, but she brings so many buffs for a target on top of resetting their skills. So unfortunately, I think Hydra is probably reset at this point. Is it too late? No. Okay, we're still good. But let me see. If we go to Nightmare, yeah, like here we go. Here's the team with Fina in here. The whole Trunda's not the problem. It's all Yumiko crowd are in absolute shambles right now. They cannot comprehend what could possibly be going on. Their brains have exploded. But Fina obviously pumping so many buffs into Trunda, and with the full reset of skills, is really powerful for that. And she works exceptionally well in that 9-piece protection. Remember, Fina is putting out a huge number of buffs. And she works in other teams, not just Trunda teams, but she's giving you increased attack, crit rate, crit damage, block debuffs, block damage, counterattack on a target ally with a reset of their skills. It's like 6 buffs. You give her a protection set and it goes absolutely crazy. And then she's got some really fun stuff too, where she's giving them lots of turn meter with buffs. Yeah, when buffs expire, it will fill turn meter, which is a massive amount. And this one is pretty crazy too. With a big high elf team, you ignore 5% defense for each buff on them, which is pretty nuts. I think certainly with Wallmaster Atharion in there, that's pretty cool. Bellinor, he's actually a good option as well for Hydra. Islan isn't great, but he's okay. Arbiter is actually pretty all right for Hydra, but Fina sort of does most of what Arbiter does minus the revive. So you wouldn't really want to run them in the same team. But I think since Fina came out, I actually think Atharion was added into this faction, and that does help a lot. So yeah, I think Bellinor, Atharion, Fina, that's the core of a pretty decent Hydra team right there. And there's room for growth in the future. She's also kind of fun as well for maybe some. I think she's just a fun little champion. So yeah, I think Fina is probably my favorite of these faction unities. I think that there's quite a lot of gameplay there. That's how I'd put it as. You're definitely looking towards, of course, that 9-piece protection, but there's quite a lot of interesting gameplay in terms of what you do with her A2. So I quite like her, actually. I think she's fun. So I think for me, I'm obviously going to be doing this path. I think for me, I'm going to be going for, I think, Fina on Saturday, almost definitely. Maybe Falmond. I'll look into Falmond some more. He'd be the other option, I think, for me. But let me know, which one of these do you like? In fact, I'll probably put up a poll on YouTube today, and you guys can vote. How about that? Hopefully we'll see some news as well, confirming in the news tab. I won't do another video on it, but maybe I'll stick it in a comment here on this video, or one of you guys can, confirming, again, presumably it's Summon Rush plus something else for this path. That will be good to know. I'll break down the full path tomorrow. But yeah, for me, I'm certainly going for this. I don't really want to build the Wixwell cheese comps for Hydra, but I suppose I will. I don't know, because it's just really strong. It's really, really strong. So maybe I will. But even outside of those cheese comps, he's really powerful. Check out my video yesterday where we did, not this one, we did Wixwell in Nightmare Hydra. So obviously, you know, compared to the cheese comps, it's not nowhere near as good. But, you know, we put in a good solid team with Wixwell, with Atharion as well. And okay, we already have a 6-star cruelty in there, but you can really stack multiple cruelties. We could put Wixwell cruelty as well. Then we could move Atharion to like easily move Atharion Michinaki to like Heaven Cast. And then obviously 6-star crushing round would push this damage very, very high. But yeah, anyway, that's sort of my feelings on that. Let me know what you think about this. This hero path has come early. It definitely leaves room as well for more events before the next fusion. Because remember, don't forget your Wixwell fusion, by the way. Like I've done mine for CVC. Make sure you get it done. It's going to disappear pretty soon, I would assume. Thanks for watching. See y'all next time. Goodbye.